This is the Dell Pro Max 16 Premium, and if you're wanting to edit videos with a Windows laptop, I think it's one of the best options out there. Mild spoiler for how I feel about this laptop out of the way. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing this laptop from the perspective of a video editor. So if you have been looking for a powerful video editing laptop and you have a healthy budget and you want to stick with Windows, keep watching. Also, for the sake of ethics, I want you to know this video is not paid or sponsored by Dell, but they did provide me with this laptop so I could make this review. Also, this video does have a sponsor, and it's my friends at Musicbed. I'll tell you more about them in a little bit. Now, for you to fully understand this review, I feel like we have to start with this Pro Max Premium name, because in the last year, we've seen Dell go through quite a wild ride when it comes to naming conventions for their laptops. For many years, they had the XPS line, which was their higher end consumer level laptops. And then they had their Precision line, which was ultra high end workstations like this one. But then in early 2025, they threw all that out the window, killed XPS and Precision, took a page from Apple and started calling all their laptops either Pro or Max to differentiate them. This was confusing, but as an update, in early 2026, Dell has reversed course on that naming decision and brought back the XPS line of laptops. Look, I'm not going to even attempt to understand or explain their reasoning here. The main thing that you need to know, and the reason that we're talking about this, is that by Dell renaming all their laptops to be either Pro or Pro Max with subversions that are Plus and Premium, it can make it really difficult to figure out which laptop you're buying and what features it has. So I want to clarify for you here. I've seen other reviews for Dell 16 Premium laptops that were rather negative, because Dell did a lot of things to make those laptops look more aesthetically pleasing while negatively affecting their usability. And I think that those reviews are fully justified. But for this higher tier Pro Max 16 Premium laptop, I'm happy to tell you it does not suffer from those sacrifices, and it is a much better laptop as a result. Now, let's get on to the build quality. Coming from the Precision that I got back in 2024, the Pro Max has a significantly different design language. And I have to say, it's one that I really like. Looking at it side by side with the older Precision, it is a significantly boxier design with actually less rounded edges and tapering, which led to me thinking it was bigger, but whenever you put it next to it, they're actually about the same size. In addition, there have been other more subtle design improvements, like the addition of a cutout near the trackpad, which makes the newer Pro Max a bit easier to open than earlier Dell laptops, and I really appreciate that. Now, looking at the keyboard, this has seen a major redesign over the Precision, moving away from the chiclet style of keys, which makes them a little bit larger. These keys also feel slightly quieter than earlier Dell laptops that I've used, and overall they feel quite comfortable. This is also where we need to talk about some of those lower tiers of Dell laptops too, because some Dell laptops have removed the function row of keys and replaced them with a strip of capacitive buttons, which suck, to put it plainly. Thankfully, this Pro Max Premium laptop doesn't do any of that. They're just regular function keys at the top of the keyboard, and people greatly prefer that. That said, there is one con of this keyboard that is very annoying. And I want to preface this complaint by saying this is a Microsoft issue, not a Dell issue. A couple of years ago, Microsoft started requiring all new laptops to have a Copilot key, which would pull up their AI assistant. But I have to say, I'm someone who uses the right control key often when video editing, and I really miss it, and I find myself constantly pulling up Copilot on accident. It's super annoying. But other than the Copilot key, I find that I really did love this keyboard, and it's great otherwise. Do you know what else is great? This trackpad. It has a really nice haptic feedback, and you can tell that Dell put a more powerful motor under the trackpad to simulate a click, and it feels great, and I have really no complaints about it. To be clear though, this trackpad is different on lower tier versions of this laptop, with some of them opting for cleaner aesthetics and hiding the edges of the trackpad, leaving you to blindly press below the keyboard hoping that you're clicking. It's a nightmare, and I'm thankful that Dell did not do that with this laptop. Looking at the sides of the laptop now, you're going to see another port that I am always thankful to see on a laptop because it's getting more and more rare. Over here on the side, you will find it has a full-size SD card slot, which if you are a video editor trying to copy footage quickly, this is a very welcome slot to see. Why am I talking about this so much? Because with their smaller and cheaper laptops, Dell, as well as much of their competition, have switched to micro SD card slots, which are basically useless for most filmmakers and photographers. So I'm I'm very glad to see that Dell is still offering a full-size SD card slot on this Pro level laptop. Throw in an HDMI slot on the other side of the laptop, and I'm very happy with this setup overall, and I think that it competes very well with something like Apple's MacBook Pro, which has very similar ports. Now, as far as speakers go on this laptop, you have the two speaker grills on the sides of the keyboard, and I have to say, I'm really impressed by these speakers. They sound fuller with better bass than previous Dell laptops that I've used, and while I would still recommend video editing with headphones, if you need to show your video to someone on your laptop, I would not feel embarrassed about using these speakers. They are quite good. And speaking of speakers, we need to take a minute to talk about the quality of music that you are playing through them when you edit a video. Here's the deal. More and more people are creating videos these days. When I started filmmaking, you had to spend thousands of dollars on camera gear to make something that looked even halfway decent. These days, an iPhone can take great video, and it's easier than ever before. So, how the heck do you stand out? How do you make videos that people actually want to watch? That's why I've partnered with Musicbed in this video, because they offer one of the most powerful tools in my arsenal that I use to make videos that are more engaging, entertaining, and above all, that people will not click away from. See, music is the main driver of the emotion in any of your films, and Musicbed is the best place to find songs from relevant and emerging artists that will elevate your work. I'm sure you've probably spent time with other music licensing sites, scrolling endlessly, thinking you might have found the right song, but nope, it doesn't feel right. Wasting hours of your life searching. That's what I love about Musicbed, on the other hand, though, because curation is their middle name. They have an exclusive roster of world-class artists, and they are extremely selective about every single song that they add to their website, meaning that when it comes time for you to search, you will oftentimes find exactly what you were looking for in the first 5 minutes. Pair that with weekly updated playlists, a stellar mobile app, and the ability to type in an artist or song name and find other music that matches that vibe. And Musicbed not only has the songs you're looking for, it has the tools to help you find them fast. True story, I used that similar song search feature with a relatively obscure artist last week, and it brought up results. It's so good. So if you are ready to make videos that people actually want to watch all the way through, you owe it to yourself to check out Musicbed. Click my link in the description and you will get a free 14-day trial to try it out for yourself and find the perfect song that will make your videos stand out from all of the others. Moving on now, let's get to the things that video editors are actually going to care about with this laptop, starting with the screen. Dell has been offering OLED screens in their laptops for many years now, and this Pro Max Premium is no exception. The colors are ultra vibrant and detailed out of the box, and the contrast is unsurprisingly perfect because it's an OLED screen. But if you're wondering how accurate the colors are on this screen, I'm happy to tell you that I used my Spider X2 Ultra tool to calibrate the screen and check its color accuracy. And whenever I did that, I discovered that out of the box, this display easily hit 100% of Rec 709 and 98% of DCI P3. And once I calibrated it, the results stayed the same, telling us that this is an extremely color accurate screen. And I think that Dell has done a great job with this display. It looks phenomenal, and I think you will be very happy color grading footage with it. Now, let's talk about battery life. And this is an area where the Pro Max holds its own very well against other PC laptops, but it does falter when going up against MacBooks, and there is a big reason for this. Here's the deal. Apple laptops with their M series of chips are some of the most efficient laptops that you can buy today, giving you great battery life even with a heavy workload. And they are significantly more power efficient than those from AMD or Intel, like in this Dell Pro Max. With the Pro Max, like I said, battery life is still good for a PC, but I would expect it to be more in the range of 3 to 4 hours when video editing, which is a very power-hungry task. There is another issue than the battery life, though, and this has plagued Windows laptops basically forever at this point, but it is surprisingly getting better with the Dell Pro Max Premium. The issue is that if your PC laptop is on battery power and not plugged in, even if you have told Windows to use maximum power, Windows is going to do its own thing and not listen to you, and your computer's power is going to be limited when when using battery versus being plugged in. Like I said, this is a known issue. Dell is quite aware of it, and while it has been getting better every few years with PC laptops, it is still an issue that I see crop up often when testing them. What this means is if you are using a Mac on battery power, it will perform virtually identically to how it will perform when plugged in, which means for you as a video editor, you're going to be able to edit and render videos very quickly. And like I said, with Windows laptops, for many years now, if you were editing or rendering a video on battery power, you're going to notice that it feels and performs slower when editing on battery. But that's where I was pleasantly surprised with the Dell Pro Max Premium. Let's talk real-world examples, starting with timeline performance. This is how fast and responsive the laptop is going to be whenever it comes time to clicking around in your video, making cuts and edits to it, speed ramping, all the normal things that you're doing when editing a video. In my experience, editing with this laptop is quite fast, and I did not experience any slowdowns or stutters when editing a mix of H.265 and RAW footage in 4K and 6K resolutions in DaVinci Resolve when plugged in. And also, here's where things would normally slow down for other Windows laptops, but with this one, I experienced zero stutters on battery power either. It's still handled, scrubbing through the footage like a champ. I'm really impressed by this. Great job, Dell. I'm not sure if this is better efficiency from Intel or enhanced speed from NVIDIA, but regardless, I will take it and be very happy about it. For context too, I want you to know this laptop has been equipped with an Intel Core Ultra 9 285H processor, 64 gigabytes of RAM, and an NVIDIA RTX Pro 3000 Blackwell GPU inside, so it is quite powerful. And in regards to that NVIDIA GPU in particular, for the Blackwell generation, NVIDIA added support for 422 video encoding and decoding, so it will perform much faster than previous versions of their GPUs for video editing in particular. Now, for the second thing other than timeline performance that's going to affect you as a video editor is how quickly this laptop can export and render a video. To be clear, you're going to spend significantly more time editing the video than rendering it, so the timeline speed is really what is important. But the nice thing about rendering and exporting a video is that you have a timer that will tell you exactly how long rendering took, which is a great way to really benchmark this laptop. In the case of the Dell Pro Max, when I exported a 10-minute 4K YouTube video with my LUTs applied in H.264 at 50 megabits per second, the video was exported in just 2 minutes and 9 seconds while plugged in, which was very quick. Then, remembering that usually a Windows laptop is not going to perform as quickly when it comes to being on battery power as it is when plugged in, when I exported that same 10-minute 4K video file on battery power, I was surprised again because the laptop took 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which yes, is slower, but only by about 20 seconds. With other recent laptops I've tested, like the Razer Blade Pro 14, that laptop took basically double the time to render a video when on battery power. So this is a really good improvement from Dell. It's not quite as good as a MacBook in terms of keeping its speed on battery power, but it is getting much closer. Speaking of a MacBook, I then grabbed my M4 MacBook Air, which is one of the cheapest laptops that Apple makes with the lowest tier of chip, and that rendered the exact same 10-minute video on battery power in 4 minutes and 18 seconds. This is definitely slower than the Dell, but the MacBook Air is also much cheaper, so keep that in mind. Now, what happens whenever a laptop renders a video? Everything heats up. The CPU and GPU are generating heat as they are processing the video, and this heat has to go somewhere. So Dell, of course, put fans in their laptop. But how are those fans going to sound to your ears? And are they pleasant fans to listen to, or are they unpleasant? I'm happy to tell you that these fans have a deeper tone that's less noticeable, and in addition, unlike earlier Dell laptops that I've reviewed, like the Precision 5680 and XPS 17, these fans also run significantly less often and quieter than on those laptops. So it feels like Dell is really dialing in their heat management better, and in addition, the slightly more boxy design of this laptop may help better with heat dissipation. So, should you buy the Dell Pro Max Premium laptop? If your toss-up is between this laptop or a MacBook, I think that each have their pros and cons, with the Dell having comparable build quality, ports, and speed, especially plugged in. The Mac, though, is still going to win on battery life, and if you commonly find yourself editing videos away from a PowerPoint, a MacBook is a clear winner if you need to edit for many hours unplugged. But if you want to stick with Windows, either because you prefer that operating system or you want to occasionally game on your laptop, the Dell Pro Max Premium is one of the best PC laptops that you can buy today. And if you are looking for a very powerful Windows laptop for video editing with good build quality, a great screen, reliable trackpad, and an NVIDIA GPU that supports the latest 422 video codecs, I think this laptop is a great choice. And do you know what else is a fantastic choice? Downloading my Edit Videos Like a Pro guide. This guide is going to show you some of my most important video editing rules that took me years to learn as an editor, and regardless of the software that you use, you're going to learn something from this guide. It is completely free, and you can download it at the link down in the video description. Thanks so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe if you want to see more videos about filmmaking and video editing, and have a great day.